Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Petaluma Community Access Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, September 18, 2012. Would the interim secretary please call the roll?
Yes, Cindy Thomas.
Here.
Present. Eric Adams.
Present.
Matt Pearson, absent. Jason Davies, absent. Neil.
Here.
Tim Williamson.
Here.
And myself here.
You had to fill it out that one, pause.
Always something. Okay, we have quorum, and we'll start off tonight's meeting with the opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone here tonight for public comment? Yes, please, Marcel Guy.
There's one book that I read from cover to cover this month, the only book I read. And what I read often was the beginning of the book, where all what you wrote. I read it several times. It made me feel really good. And I thank you very much. I miss you all, but I'm enjoying my retirement. And another thing I want to talk about is many years ago, I had a friend, she had a Arabian horse, and I used to go to shows with her. She used to show one of her horses. And I got to learn about the breed. I love the breed. They are a special kind of horses. And I will never ride one, but I learned a lot about them. And I had an Afghan hound, and I dreamed of making a video with the Arabian horse and Afghan hounds. And I always thought that the Arabian horse is to horses what Afghan hounds are to dogs. The Afghan hound is the king of dogs. And I always dream of making a video, and my friend died of brain cancer. And now after seeing Michael's video, he confirmed what I always thought, that the Arabian was the king of horses. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's all I want to say. This is Michael Caravana.
Yeah, well,
if you haven't seen his video, I suggest that you see it.
I'm foreign-born, and my family emigrated from the island of Malta to Detroit. And when I was my first summer from out of school, I still couldn't speak English very well. I went to a local library, and basically I asked a woman for a book to read. That's all I could say. And she led me to the children's section, very patient person, and kept handing me books until I heard the word horses. And she handed me a book by Walter Farley called The Black Stallion. I think some of you may have seen the movie that was made from that book. It's a children's book. But anyway, that's how I got interested in how long I was interested in Arabian horses. And I've had my own company, sold it, retired, was in the Army, out of the Army, and all kinds of things. And the dream stayed. And when I finally moved to Petaluma 16 years ago, I decided, okay, I have to see if as an adult, it still holds the charm it seemed to hold as a child. And that's been a really wonderful experience. Arabian horses are quite rambunctious, so they're not for everyone. And they have an interesting enigma about them, because when you're on them, you have to ride. They're ready to go. They're not something you sit on and talk to your friends on. But when you get off, they nibble your hair, they push you, they get very personal. And so it's really a fun breed. So the Rotary Club wanted me to be a guest speaker about Arabian horses, so that's how I happened to make that little film strip. It actually started out 45 minutes, but I had to keep paring it down to fit it into their agenda. But, yeah, they are, most horse breeds, everybody has their favorites. That happens to be mine. But,
Where do we find the video?
It's on PCA. It's playing on PCA. I don't know the hours. Several times a week, several times, and it's also on YouTube. So go to PCA, and you'll find out. The title is "The Birth of an Arabian."
I did see it. It's really, really beautifully done. It is a gorgeously shot and narrated short documentary, and I was very impressed by it.
So I believe for viewers, they can go to www.pca.tv, and do we have a tab that says
We have a link
YouTube?
we have a link on
Okay.
the website for the YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, and we post shows there as well. Michael, how do you spell your last name again, please?
Caruana.
And I just wanted to say the film is very well done.
Oh, thank you.
If you pared it down, that is the process. You're doing a favor to the viewers to just get it down to the best.
Yeah.
And I want to say that Marcel did a horse movie as well that shows
She did.
back to back, and they're both excellent. I enjoyed
Thank
watching
you.
them.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Directors, are we?
yeah, director's
Yeah,
comment,
yeah.
go ahead.
I wanted to continue to thank the PCA staff for the luminary
It's good
and
to see you.
work that they're
It's
doing.
good to see you.
And just mention that, John, I was at, I don't know if you had a chance to go to Petaluma, what is it, Petaluma Palooza this
No, I was out
weekend.
of town.
It's the first time it was sort of a business fair for Petaluma. And it seems like an excellent venue for PCA next year, probably much better than the Riverfest and all the other things that we've gone to, because it's really about organizations and about people who want to get involved, and it just seems like a very good mix for our organization. I just wanted to say that before I forgot it. So.
And I just wanted to say that we would have been there, but I was out of town. Family reunion in Modesto. It was quite
good.
good. And we'd also used up a lot of extra hours for the Little League.
For the other stuff.
But I was in touch with John and Diane, and we are supportive of everything they do. They did a launch for their Aquas community, which was sort of a start of this process. So we'll be there next year.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, everyone's looked at the agenda. Is there any modifications we need to make? If not, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a
Second.
second. Okay, and everyone's in agreement? Yes, okay. All right, approval of the August 21st minutes. Are there any corrections to be made before we look for a motion? Good job on these, John,
He's almost as good as Marcel.
almost.
We got Marcel's cheat sheet.
Then,
This time will be easier.
I'll move approval.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved, treasurer's report. John, are you gonna do that for Matt
Yeah, I
tonight?
can take it over. I mean,
Okay.
it's pretty straightforward. We're still in the black. Just caught one thing that's awkward in this payroll, the profit and loss budget performance. If you would look at, I looked carefully today because I was doing a review of the whole budget. The payroll costs are, I thought they were skyrocketing, but it turns out that because we had a holiday, one of the pay periods from September got calculated in. And actually the access assistant fee, which is way over budget for this period, actually that's Van, and he has been promoted to technical specialist, so that'll be corrected in the next one.
It's more useful in that kind of stuff to look at the year-to-date anyway.
Yeah.
Total.
Okay, so it fluctuates depending on when it gets paid. We effectively changed the Summit State Bank check signing card. Neil is now on and Marcel is now off. That was well done. Other than that, any questions?
And we've instituted our vacation time policy. That's all been taken
Yes.
care of and done and already accruing.
It's accruing and being used.
Okay.
Okay. Then if there's no other comments, we will move on to the executive director's report, please, John. Thank
Let's see
you.
what I got, what did I tell myself to tell you about today? It's the election update. The ballots went out on Friday. Everything looks in good shape. Our election inspector came in and vetted the list. Actually, the list, well, I'll continue with the election update first. We have 2 nominees from the board for 2 seats, and there were no petitions signed, so there's no other candidates. Pretty straightforward, and I trust you've all received yours by now, and you saw the letter I wrote. Go with it. Little League follow-up. We had a marvelous parade, and Thomas actually went to the airport when they arrived, and I was on the overpass down by the garbage dump down between Nevada and Petaluma. It was really a whole community boost, and I was really proud that PCA could be front and center. Made a real good bond with TAPS. They're big friends of ours.
So did I.
Thomas is currently editing bits and pieces. He actually went up to the radio station where the kids were invited to do a guest DJ at a country western station, and Thomas filmed that. And he's editing that over time, and the pieces are coming out. We've got a lot of it on the YouTube. The revised business sponsorship, we have changed I know Eric was involved in drafting that years ago, and it's evolved primarily because our scheduling program has evolved. But instead of doing a 24-hour cycle on 26, we now do an 8-hour cycle that repeats twice. So we've kind of lost control of the primetime sections. We also, I was getting nowhere with the prices that we had attached. So I've reduced the prices, revised and revamped. We're going to have a professional printing run on slick paper, and I'm going to hit the streets with sponsorships while Little League is still vibrating. I wanted to add, though, that in talking to Mary at Summit State Bank, she offered to do some lead work for us, to actually find people to set up for me to go in and make the deal. So that was a real blessing. She's very proud to be connected with PCA. She actually came and paid us a visit today for the first time. Checked out our site. Eventual bylaws changes. This came up last meeting, and I think we should pursue it probably early next year. I think we can create a subcommittee and renew our efforts to get the board numbered from 13 down to 9 or 11 as we see fit.
Do we need to wait till the next annual election for that, or can we do a
No.
special?
We could do a special election with a lot of priming, publicity, and email.
Which we do anyway.
Yes. But I think that we have a situation now where we could reach out to our membership to make a structural change of that nature with confidence. So it was the bylaws changed for the number on the board, but also we would address the question of the audit, the annual audit, and whether we could then, with the bylaws change, take it back to the city. I think we should do that so that it is effective at our next fiscal year, which is July, which means if we had an election in January, February, we could go to the city in March, April, or May. And I think it's a pretty strong argument for the audit. If we stayed with the same auditor who's been doing our audit now, this is the 3rd year, and if they were to do a financial review 2 years or 3, and then the 3rd or 4th year could be an audit. I think that's a reasonable proposition. We have a new employee. We've hired Max here as an access assistant. He did great work as an intern through the summer, and is a functional part of our meeting coverage. So welcome, Max.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
And I have started work on the annual report. These are always tricky because I have to talk about the fiscal year that ended in June. And I'm already too deeply into this one. But they're due in November, but I would like to have this one ready for the board in October. Any questions?
No, thank you. Good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
When did you say the annual election is?
The annual election?
Yeah, and the membership meetings?
Well, the ballots went out on Friday, and they are due in October 4th. Yeah, that's right, there's a whole chapter there. We have an event planned. Actually, that's on the agenda.
Oh, it's on the agenda later?
Yeah, we're going to have our members meeting at the the Historical Museum. Kate and I went over, and actually one of our interns came along because he's a journalism major at Sonoma State, and he wrote the press release, or worked with Kate on the press release. So the three of us went over and met with Joe and checked out the location. We were lucky because they have a show coming down on October 1st and going up October 10th. So it's a perfect window to use that space with enough room for chairs for our luminary and awards. And it's a great place to mix, and they'll probably put up a little covering if we need it in the back around that oak tree.
And it's a great building with lots of parking.
Yes, lots of parking, and the building's got heritage. So history, the past and the future comes together. And we've been real good friends with Joe, so he's very happy to have us. I could also add that we seem to have dropped in our membership. A lot of old timers that didn't renew. One of the factors may be that we had a discount last year that we handed out at the parade. We've gone from, let's see, where's that paper? We've gone from roughly 120 members to 105, so we lost 15. And of that 105, only 90 are voting members because they're family memberships. And in a family membership, one gets to vote. So I think we have a challenge ahead of us to get those members back. And I really want to push the non-user membership. For $30, you can support PCA. You don't have to pretend you want to make TV if you don't want to, but you can still be on our roster and sign up as a supporter.
What about student membership for college kids?
There's something cooking there. We got a call from Matt. We've been in touch with a new teacher at Santa Rosa JC, both campuses.
Oh.
And apparently they have very old and outdated equipment, and they're kind of struggling with that. So Kate and Thomas went over to the class this week. They went over yesterday and made a pitch. And we could have another 20 members come in on that alone, which would mean new equipment is needed. But I would like to develop this on a deeper level than just we offer them memberships. I mean, we are actually helping them deliver their curriculum if we've got equipment that they need. So there's a partnership there that could be rich. I didn't get to talk to Matt before he left on that. He kind of just created it and turned it loose. But Thomas and Kate went over and made the pitch. So.
Have we ever tried a direct mail approach to getting memberships like other organizations do? And talking about,
I don't believe we have.
you know, here's, you
No,
know, who broadcast the city council meeting? Who broadcast the school board? Who brought you the Little League? And really trying to get to appeal to people to be members because it's good for the community.
No, I like that idea. And I would really make a pitch that even if you don't want to use the camera,
Yeah.
you can still be a member and be a proud member of an important organization. Will do.
Use your phone.
How much do we put that out over our own airwaves when we're broadcasting? I mean, in between.
We have it on the bulletin board. You can be a member and take advantage of this, this, and this. But we could up the ante.
We probably need to start thinking about doing animated type PSAs for.
We've got a master back here of claymation. Yeah. As soon as he gets grounded in his rhythm. I mean, we got his first time sheet today. But I've always thought that Max could do a good job with a little claymation.
So you could start on that like Monday then.
And no
Last
one's
Monday.
made claymation, it'll be done in 2 years.
Yes, I understand. He knows.
Unless it's
Actually,
bend the elbow.
Max has done a lot of excellent work. You can get it on YouTube. He actually came to PCA because he wanted to work with people in a team. So I don't want to stick him in a box and make him
Right.
clay.
Well, even just a video, a nice little, 30-second promo or something like that.
Absolutely.
Would be nice.
You know, we have now 2 Sonoma State interns. Christine is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 new high school students who have just contacted us who want to come in. And Max has just been promoted. And
Where are we gonna put them? We need more office space,
Yeah, and you're
What
gonna
a
have to, you're gonna
setup.
probably have to teach claymation classes.
yeah,
That's
So
not a bad idea. All right, So,
Very good.
anything else?
Not for me. unless there's
Are we
any
good,
questions.
folks? Okay, thanks for both of those reports, John. And moving on, we have items on the consent calendar, and for reports of committees, are there any committee reports?
I'll just say on as far as Luminarian voting for the Luminarian Awards is open. Anyone who would like can go to pca.tv, www.pca.tv, and vote for your favorite programs on PCA. Voting continues through the end of this month, which is October 1st. We've gotten a good amount of voting already, and we suspect more will be coming in as we do a couple more email blasts here.
Good. All right.
I have some notes from Kate on the luminarians, but I could bring that up when we talk about the members meeting. It's part of
Sure.
that.
And you'll get another chance to plug your luminarian.
Luminarians, we're plugging
Number 4.
everywhere we go.
Yeah, you can plug them in on every one of these here, probably. Okay, we'll start with old business, item number 1, discussion and possible action on low power FM license, and that was Jason's item, but I don't know if anyone here.
I'm sort of in
Speak
between
to that.
Jason and Zach. I do know that the opening, the window for applications has not been announced, and it's probably gonna be next year. My largest concern was the staffing involved in another site for the radio broadcasting. That too will appear in the possible expansion of our existing site. If we could build our radio station into our own office, it's a much more feasible proposition, which will really help our application because we'll have that nailed. I asked Jason to get together with Zach to confirm that status, but I didn't get an answer on where it was at.
I think that's what Zach told me too.
Yeah, that it's probably gonna be pushed back till next year.
Okay. No action on that. Item number 2, discussion and possible action on a memo of understanding with the Cultural Arts Council of Sonoma County for Arts ID Media. John?
Yes, I have been reviewing this again and again, going over the plain facts that I submitted last meeting. Here's my marked up version. I did contact KRCB. They have in this plain facts, there's a item 3. KRCB will retain the name Arts ID at dissolution of the Alliance. There are a couple of other questions I have that were related to these notes. But in talking to KRCB, I spoke with Robin Pressman, who's the Director of Programming in the radio department. And it appears the KRCB had a partnership with the Bohemian and a couple of other organizations that basically created a radio show called Arts ID, which was an overview of cultural events in Sonoma County. Out of that grew the idea of a larger alliance that would bring together a number of groups. But it turns out that they too had the same reaction we had to the MOU, that it was convoluted and overly complex. And they were looking for a funding stream to get the radio show back on. But when they saw the MOU, they basically sent it back saying, can you please streamline it and make it simpler, and who else is involved? So they had many of the same questions we had. The original idea was covering arts and to create an organization that would aggregate resources and talent. And actually, Robin said that their top goal would be to train as a training ground for artists as reporters, which could lend itself to a very interesting TV show. So in one sense, the Arts ID concept put Robin and I in touch, so there's a benefit to it. But it confirmed my sense that there's just too much complexity in the proposition to simply jump on board. I think I could recommend that the board could say we approve of this in principle if the MOU is resubmitted in a form that we can accept. I think we could move on that as an action, or as a straw vote, just to get a sense that I should continue pursuing it. that kind of collaboration and aggregated talent and resources is a beautiful dream. But there are, I don't know where, you know, John Moran, I don't know, he goes a little too far and tangles it up. And I think it could be
thought we
lots.
indicated a couple of months ago that we were okay with the idea in principle, but it was the paperwork and the bureaucracy.
Okay, well, I was directed to contact other partners.
Right.
I started with the top one, and I got a confirmation that our concerns were their concerns. So I'll take it back to John, and
Any
Well,
others?
well, also, I thought we were gonna try and get him here and, you know, kind of give his spiel about what he views this as and what the benefits are to us, the community and everyone else, so that we have a chance to really delve into it a little more. Because
Were you
right
able to
now,
get
I'm honestly a little befuddled as to what it'll do, how much time it'll take, whether we're gonna put any money into it, and what its benefit will be. And I always, you know, want to guard against over bureaucratization of any organization.
Good word.
And meetings, I said it, I got it
You
out
spit it
there.
out.
You know, things that are time sinks and that don't deliver. Not that this will be one, but.
well, that's good. I will respond to John then and say, as soon as the MOU is streamlined and in a comprehensible manner, then send it on, and we'll schedule you for an appearance at the board meeting.
Were you able to find if there were other interested participants?
No, I wasn't able to track that down.
In general, the idea of arts reporting is really, sounds like, I mean, that's a winner, that's ought to be a
Sure.
central focus of PCA, and at least on one of the stations.
Would it be helpful to suggest to John that he just put in the MOU what, you know, some of the benefits and potential, you know, just the potential benefits of this organization is, and just really cut out all the other stuff, because it all is not gonna, you know, come together as he thinks it's gonna come
Yeah,
together. in
I
a
think he's
bureaucratic
counting
way.
on a real cash flow, and to be careful about that cash flow. He wants to dot
Oh, I
his
see,
i's.
okay, right.
Yeah, because it could be the grounds for a good grant. I mean, if you have a
Right.
partner, a countywide partnership trying to put on an event, it could make a stronger
This is
proposition.
true. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if that's,
I'm sorry.
if they need that imprimatur to, you know, of the countywide, and they've got their eye on some pot of money someplace, and we can be helpful, but simply by signing our name, that's fine.
But it is an exciting idea, the whole idea of aggregating talent potential in the county. It's wonderful.
And I really enjoyed meeting and talking to Robin today. so.
Great.
I guess my warning bells are up because of, we're dealing with an organization that has 4 or 5 staff members. It's looking for, you know, ways to, you know, not to lay off people and keep things going, and that, you know, where do we come in on that? And I wanna know that there's real benefits to this whole thing.
If John doesn't have that MOU ready for the October meeting, I won't put it on the agenda. I'll put it on the agenda when he's ready to come.
Okay. Ready to move on?
Tell them we have a chair for him.
And tables, he can pull tables with me.
No.
Okay, so, item number 3 under old business is the discussion and possible action on expansion of PCA operating facilities.
Yes, here we go. This one's,
Oh.
Yeah,
this one's
I'm
exciting.
ready for this one.
The board has expressed quite often a desire to grow and offer more to the community and reestablish a studio space in Petaluma. We came close, Ray and I started the process with the landlady maybe 2 years ago, at which point the instability or the insecurity around our Comcast fees led me to have second thoughts. And it was a calculated risk. If the space below went off to somebody else, we lost, but it didn't. It's still empty, which put us in a very good negotiating position for this round. We had a very productive subcommittee. Neil and Jason and I met 2 times, and with a lot of email exchanges in between. We did look at some, Tim was involved too. Yes. Tim hosted our meetings.
Yeah, thanks for remembering.
Oh, you know me and the memories. Slowly but surely.
It's
I
on
lose them
tape.
all. My memory bank is corrupt. Occupy memory banks. We met at City Hall twice. One of the meetings, we just hopped up and ran over and looked at a space available, which was kind of interesting. It was on Kentucky Street, right across from the park, almost a parallel position, right next to, what is it called, Community Works or Daily Acts. Daily Acts.
Oh, in the same building.
Same building as Daily Acts. It was $2,000 a month, but when we walked in, it was an old lawyer's office with dark wood paneling and kind of a lobby with a secretariat with all the file cabinets, and then little offices all around. So there was a pretty stiff renovation process involved, but it gave us a benchmark for what a value was. Matt also sent me an email with a Craigslist posting that I went and checked out. I didn't actually meet with a real estate agent, but I looked in the windows and studied the pictures. And effectively, it was quite interesting in a kind of a studio place, but I think you need $100,000 to $200,000 to really get it up to scratch, to build the rooms and create the studio. The upstairs was just kind of wood planks with a wooden railing. It kind of had a barn feeling, a garage feeling, but it had a nice aspect. But again, that was an option that we explored. What we got with the landlady grew out of problems over the heating system in the shared office and her concern about our lease coming up next year. So she made us an offer that was quite interesting. I believe I sent you all the initial offer. When we met with her, the negotiations went very smoothly. I'm going to pass these out. There's one for each of you. Neil and Tim and Jason and I, no, actually Tim wasn't there for this one, if my memory serves me well. We met with Kathy last week. We looked at the space downstairs. Jason has sent out an email with his version of the experience. Her offer was $2,100 for the first year, 5% raise each year for 3 years. We were able to negotiate a 5-year lease with at a fixed rate, no annual increase. Our increases presently were tied to the Consumer Price Index, which was 2.8 the first year and 2.1 the second year. She hasn't been asking us for those annual increases, but she's been keeping track and was going to take it out of the last month's rent. You know, over 1 month, we have about $2,000 in deposit.
May I ask you a question about that? Did you agree to that
Yeah,
method
I'm
of
confused
accounting?
about that too.
Did I agree to it?
Yeah, I mean,
I was never appraised of it. I looked at it.
it's one thing to say we're going to increase your rent and then do it. It's another thing to say, well, I'm going to take it out of last month's rent if I decide to or not decide to. It seems very unprofessional in a way, you know.
Presumptuous.
Yeah.
You know, I could have offered to pay it. I saw it coming and I didn't. I just continued paying it the rate we were paying.
Well, she didn't bill you or send you
No,
a letter,
there was-
official
there
letter
was no
saying.
letter of that.
So she was just holding it over our heads in a way.
Actually, the first year
In a
I
very
noticed it, the second
subjective
year I
way.
had completely forgotten it, so
Yeah.
it didn't factor in. And if you read the lease, it's kind of buried, that
Mhm.
increase. It's not effectively noted at the front page where it should have been noted. It's in an appendix at the back.
Mhm.
In any case, she's willing to forgive it if this lease is transferred.
I guess my point being is that her willingness to forgive might also be countered by our desire to, you know, say that it's not really a legit cost because it hasn't been billed correctly, it hasn't been notified correctly, all those types of things, so I'm not
I
quite sure.
think if we were moving elsewhere, we could play that card
Uh-huh.
quite effectively. I'm not worried about that. But at this point, given the
Situation.
collegial atmosphere of the transaction, I wouldn't hassle it.
Okay.
And what, we don't plan on doing that again in the future, we're not gonna,
We've negotiated a contract that will have
That would have none of that.
It would
Right.
be flat rent for 5 years.
I mean, I know you've been very happy there and very happy with the relationship, so I'll say all that in that context.
Yeah, we started out very shaky, and, for the first 3 to 5 months, we weren't sure we were gonna pay. We were in the hole. So and she had that sense because she had negotiated with the previous board and previous
Oh, I
MP.
see.
So she knew there was stress and turmoil. So she was holding her breath, we were holding ours, and we accomplished the first year, and each year got better. We're the anchor tenant in the building, with a good presence, and we have life in the building. So it's a happy relationship. For me, there's the sense of growth. There's an organic quality to this. We're just expanding in our own footprint. The money we will save in not having to redo all the accounts with different addresses, a new burglar alarm system, all of that is really interesting. And we could use the space. So finally I feel in a position, and the key was seeing the Comcast quarterly sum go up $1,500 last quarter. What I've done now in a review of our budget is take the last 4 quarters and average them and project on that. And we gained another 6,000, which will cover this year's.
It's $500 a month.
Yeah, which will cover this year's. Actually, this year, if you look, she was hoping we would start October 15th. I think we should start November 1st, just to make it a clean month. That's a minor detail that I think she'll be willing to go with. It also gives us a little more time to plan our move effectively. But if you just look at the floor plan that was attached to that, I think I gave you my copy, but
Here's an extra copy right here.
yeah.
Oh,
It's almost a mirror where we have our equipment room. The alternate would be my office, and I could share that with either Zach or Thomas. Sharing the office with Thomas has been fine. It might be more effective though to have the station manager share with me. Our hours are kind of split differently. The room in the far back right is a basement room basically. No windows, could be transformed into a small studio.
good sound isolation.
It has good sound isolation. We could actually we could augment that with soundproofing.
okay, so we're just taking this section here.
That's the section we're adding.
This
Right.
part right here.
Right.
This is what he's talking about for
Right.
the shared office, and we're just switched to this room here. This is the one where the hill is on here on the side.
And if you look right here, there's a door, a buried door frame right here that they could knock out a hole, and we have access through. And they offered to do that. These 2 offices here have windows. They're very open and airy. Staff could have their workspace here. We could have 3 staff members in this room and 2 in this room. We have a possible meeting lobby room, and this would become expanded into editing for members. Probably we'll keep the checkout desk at the front. The equipment room will stay the same. The photocopier will come out of the equipment room and go here. This could be the studio. And what's really exciting is we could fit a radio station into this. We may use the same space and kind of wall it off, give it a little more integrity.
Or just schedule it.
Yeah. So I think the timing is right. I think the challenge is interesting. It's going to put us more, it's like the ladder leaning against a wall. We're going to move the wall, and for a couple of months the ladder's going to have to find a new balance. But I'm looking forward to that. Staff is looking forward to that. And I think the risks are entirely mitigated by the organic quality of just expanding. We'll get a new sign on the front. We'll raise our profile, which we already have. Little League, we have 500 new people in Petaluma who never thought of the PCA and now know about us, who actually tuned in to get that radio broadcast. and loved it. So we put ourselves onto their radar, and I think we can hang on to that thrust and follow it with a successful transition. We did, we still have the clause that should the funding stream from the city be jeopardized or compromised, we have a 2 months notice to void the lease and move on. And we did add a word to that clause calling it operational funds to make it very clear that even if the money still stayed but the terminology around it changed, then that could be grounds for the same release.
May I ask the staff that's here, what do you guys think about this plan, about the expansion?
Stand in front of the camera.
Only if you have an opinion, don't they?
Yeah, not if you're sure.
Yeah. All right.
And,
Thank you very much,
Thank
Michael.
you, and I
Yes.
really appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank
It
you.
was all new to me, it's very interesting. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take me to Channel 26.
No comment?
Well, that's not really fair.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Christine's been there for about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been there a couple of hours, so. And Max has been there through the summer and has really functioned in the city hall and at meetings like this.
All right.
So they've never really felt the pinch, although Max has come in to edit and probably could use some more space for that. Zach is very happy with the IFL.
Okay.
Okay. Questions?
I think as a subcommittee or whatever body we were named, I think as a group we felt pretty good about it. We did look at a couple other options. It looks to be an easy move, and easy means inexpensive, easy to absorb. There is no change in location for walk-ins. It was affordable.
Yeah, I think the 5-year lease is without any increase is great. It's really a bargain because almost all of these leases do have escalator clauses, usually based on CPI, but which it hasn't been a lot, but this locks us in. It's $6,000 more, which is, you know, in this budget, it's not insignificant, but it's also seems doable if our revenues hold up from the city, and if they don't, we looked at the budget, there's probably places we could clip a little bit here and there and make this 6,000 or other fundraising we can do. So I don't think it's a big leap to get this office, and from the looks of it, it's definitely needed, and the idea of getting a studio and having a space to do that is really exciting. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was important to us that we're addressing membership issues with this. The studio seems to come to us quite often. And there's always been couldn't handle the staff, didn't have the space, and there's an opportunity we could actually kind of pull it off. It's a risk, but I think it's pretty limited risk. And no, Jason's not here. He did send us all an email. He's firmly in favor of this also.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there's 2 places where we could clip our budget, and that is the lease on the photocopier expires in April. That's $190 a month. We could buy one much cheaper, and then if we can successfully get the audit off in the annual rhythm, that's $9,500 with tax.
That's a break even just between the two of those.
Yeah, that's $7,000 a year for the audit. If we did that every 3rd year, that would be.
Now, the equipment that is in storage on Kentucky Street, what is the bulk of that equipment? Is that stuff that we can?
It's pretty much antediluvian equipment. I don't think, well, we will explore the reutilability of it, but I don't hold up much hope.
Is it time to pick out what it is that we want and?
We're doing that now. I mean, we have a lot of old analogic monitors that went to Goodwill last month.
Okay.
We're trying to simplify what we are holding there. We
Right.
tried to sell some of this stuff. It's not selling. We've got a brand new generator that we tried 3 times to sell on Craigslist, it's not selling.
How much were you trying to sell that?
I forget, it was like a $900 item when we went from 700 to 500 to 300, it's still not
Yeah,
selling.
It's like a backup
Craigslist
generator.
seems to be going about 10-20 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
What's, how many amps?
What?
How many amps we got out of that thing?
$900, that's gotta
Yeah,
that'd be a couple thousand watts at that.
If Neil doesn't buy that, I might buy it, seriously.
No, it's a brand new one. I
Disaster
used it
recovery.
5 times.
Yeah,
But the actual cameras you remember from PCA and CASA, the ones
I
on the
remember those
wheels,
big
the
ones.
headsets, I don't think they're reusable.
Yeah, we've only just used those as props in the parade and whatnot. I
And they're
don't know.
tape, right? Big tape cameras.
Yeah, they're not
No.
digital.
Well, as having just signed a check for $35 a month for the storage of these items, I think we should get rid of them and say they're still $35 a month.
Given that the bulk of it's electrical, and pretty much anything with wires qualifies for the e-waste event.
Yeah,
If not, some of the off ones, the city runs one every July and January.
we would probably try to privilege the city one. Goodwill runs one daily, every day of the week, you can drop off your
You
waste.
can do that too. There are a couple of, and the smaller ones that tend to take a limited quantity from a location at once.
Yeah, that's where we
You
would
can always
go.
trickle it off. Maybe time to just bite the bullet.
Oh yeah, we're close to it.
Anything save
It's a
35
question
bucks
of-
for Neil.
yeah, It's a question of priorities, other things take us off into different
Yeah.
directions, but, what was I gonna say,
Well, I think we've covered that financially, the deal's tenable and operationally it's suitable.
yeah. What I wanna watch carefully though is the increased staff needs, if we have, right now, we have a situation where our front desk person can go on a break and somebody else doing something else in the same office can still monitor that space. That will lose that. So we'll have to move a staff member over for the dinner breaks. But I don't see it creating a large problem because we could just shut the door to one side, we have a smaller area. We also will need to invest some money in setting up the studio. And if the JC students come over in large quantities, we're gonna need new equipment. So I think we can cover the actual concrete expansion costs. It's the residuals that go with that, new equipment, and our capital expense fund is at about $85,000, about $85,000, and that's not replenished. So I think we should tie the expansion with a fundraising or membership drive, a fundraiser at Lagunitas, and that kind of thing. We now have some anchors to hit the streets with. We delivered for you last summer, and we need your help to keep growing. So I think we're in a good position. I'm excited about it. It gives us all a new life because it has sort of leveled off. We're very stable, but with stability also comes stagnation. So I'm looking forward to it.
well, it seems like everyone is in support of this, so I will make a motion that we move ahead and expand the facilities and enter into this contract with Hill Opera Plaza.
Authorize John to sign the lease.
Authorize John to sign a lease as well.
We have a motion, who seconds it?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion?
Unless Neil wants to.
No, it's okay.
All right, all's in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're good?
Okay.
You both get a private office out of this deal.
Yeah.
They could have if they would have said something.
You got the penthouse
Corner
suite.
office, windows.
And I will go to the signing table with November 1st as the start.
Wonderful. Been waiting for this for a
I'm gonna
long
have a
time.
moving party rather than we'll just go and haul everything down.
Tell all the
Yeah,
radio
both.
guys and the
Yeah,
studio
just move it
guys,
down. Hauling it down could be
their
interesting.
wishes become.
But it's not
command.
moving, it's expanding, it's really kind of
It's
cool.
Is
nice.
there any room for us to have a board meeting there?
Actually, yeah.
A cozy one.
There's
No,
another,
really, we
Given the
should.
amount
another
of people,
expense.
another people that come.
Yeah.
Do we
Another
pay,
expense
do we pay for
going
this
on
room?
Oh, we do?
What do we,
I think it's like
56, 55, something, $50, $60 a month.
Yeah, I think it's like 600 a year, I think.
Or is it per hour? No, it's not per
10%
hour.
of the cost if we just have our board meetings there.
Absolutely, we should do it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Almost as much as the storage.
Yeah.
So,
Watch our garage sales for a nice meeting table.
oh, we can do that.
Yeah.
All
Okay then.
right, great.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for all the
Thanks.
good work, subcommittee,
Yep.
on that.
It was a
Yep.
very effective subcommittee.
Okay, we're moving on up to new business, and item number 4 is discussion and possible action to approve plans for the annual members meeting. Mr. Executive Director?
Yes, so we have the location, we have the Historical Museum, 7 o'clock on October 4th, Thursday. Ballots will be counted at 5 o'clock. Tim, I'm hoping you'll come by to witness the process as usual. And then we'll come over. Kate put together a list for what we need to do. There is a question, do we want to have another raffle? Last year we had a raffle, which was quite effective. If there is the decision to have the raffle, will the board help us get the raffle items? One big item, little items, combination thereof. Award trophies, is that in for the Illuminating Awards?
I think so, yes.
Process? Okay, Kate wasn't sure if it was set in stone, but Jason seems to be the point person on that. Then we have food and drinks and ice. We're looking for donations there. Lagunitas has always been very kind to us. We also have a budget for ice and that sort of thing.
You won't need as much wine this year. I'm gonna be in Virginia.
One case.
The ballot count is at the office, right?
At the office.
Okay.
We do the ballot count at the office. So we're gonna need board participation to pull this off at the level it deserves.
Yeah, I think there's can be very little board presence at this meeting, if my calculations
Yes.
are correct.
I know Eric's out of town,
You're out of
unfortunately.
town too.
Matt's
out of
out of town,
Unfortunately, I'm out of town.
On the 4th.
Neil's out of town.
How about you, Cindy?
I will be there, I'll be out of town, I'll be leaving at 5:30 the next morning
I
for
heard,
the
yeah.
airport.
To Hawaii,
Yes,
occupy Hawaii.
I better be packed.
You don't need to pack for Hawaii. You can always buy a swimsuit down there, that's about all you need.
I barely bring anything.
Yeah.
My condo's got a washer and dryer.
We have a condo down there, it's built up.
Alright,
I was writing that down too.
Well, I'll continue with Kate's shopping list here. We need a server, bartender. She thinks it'd be a nice touch if we could get some volunteers or pay a few people a flat rate to do it for the night, to release the staff. There's a beautiful old piano in the museum. If we had a pianist come in to play it. We have a suggestion of either Sebastian Now, who's a member, the iPad winner, she's a musician, Dorian Bartley, and Gio Benedetti is also.
And my son is a professional, musician and piano player.
Sounds like an all-stars concert.
Well, if he's
Yeah.
available, is he
I'll
gonna
talk
be
to
with you?
him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, he's not going to do it.
Be nice to have a photographer, although we had staff doing it last year and that was great. A donation basket at the front door, possibly at each table. Matching or alternating colored tablecloths, matching with the decorations, with a theme. We've got 3 colors, we should certainly run with them. We all loved those balloon arches that Stephanie did last year. We might try to get her back in to do those. There are some installations at the front as you walk into the museum. It's kind of a wall, freestanding wall that will still be there. So we have a great place to put pictures and a display of PCA. And perhaps even having a happy anniversary banner that would not have a year on it, so we can reuse it. And we have our usual speeches. I usually make an address. You're not going to be there to do the luminarian, so I guess that.
No, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
do we know if
Tape it.
Jason's gonna be there, does he?
I better confirm that. I'll confirm.
Tape yourself. And you can say, and the winner is, and then John can say
I don't know,
something.
it's a
Well,
public
it's kind of-
event,
it's
he's running
election
for office,
season.
is there Jason gonna be there?
It's election season, do you think he'll
Yes.
miss it?
Yes, any opportunity for him to get on the soapbox. Censor that.
It's called editing. Any opportunity or chance you can talk Joe into making a shameless pitch for the museum?
That's a good
And
idea.
if so, co-marketing.
He gave us a quote for the press release, and he's definitely on board.
Well, I mean, co-marketing, he could put it out onto their email list.
That's definitely a possibility, and
Swing
we
by.
work very closely with the Petaluma Downtown Association, so we can probably co-market through them. And,
Are you friends with Karina over at Petaluma Patch yet?
pretty much.
Is she doing anything for us?
She rides your bike.
Hmm?
She
No.
rides your bike.
No, I mean as far as giving us any press.
She should.
Yeah.
You have a press release, send it to her.
Yeah, we have it, but it hasn't really been exploited. I could. Karina.
Yeah.
I made a very strong contact with John Burns at the latest. I personally volunteered off the clock to film the last candidate forum, and with 2 days' notice, so they were thrilled. But yeah, maybe get an article in the Argus.
That'd be very nice. We have to do that quickly because,
Yes, but a lot of people don't read the Argus, they read the Patch
oh really?
Well, the online, the Petaluma 360 is
also. I rely on Patch, I don't rely on Argus anymore.
That's interesting.
So if there's any kind of board participation, would that be a subcommittee to work with Kate? I know the luminarians, you will work with Kate until you leave, and then Jason will
Right.
take over. I say we nominate Matt.
Matt.
Matt's not gonna be there.
Matt's there either? I thought he got back on the 2nd.
I will have to review the email that he sent, but I'm pretty sure that it was the 5th.
Okay. That would make sense, Friday, the 5th. Well, I'm really happy with the location and Joe's participation. And Kate's done this 2 years now, she's on top of it.
Good.
So we'll make it simple but smart, and she'll be calling you for help. Oh, guide her there. I guess I might have mentioned this, I should have mentioned this in my announcements, but it wasn't on my agenda, and I'm just thinking of it now. We may not have Zach there. He has complications with his foot requiring surgery, which is gonna happen next week, and depending on the length of the incision, it could be 2 weeks to 2 months on his back.
Who's this?
Zach.
On his back for his
What?
foot, I was gonna loan him my crutches.
No, this is, something went haywire. He took his vacation time and a small sabbatical to work with Pixel. 2 weeks, he was going to the Republican convention and the Democratic convention. Well, they ran him so much on the Republican convention that he came back limping, and they took him off the front lines, and he worked here in the city on the back end. But he went to see the doctor, and something has gone critical, requiring surgery, and the doctors don't really know whether they have to go all the way up to the ankle. So we're gonna lose Zach for 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, right in the middle of the move and this period here. So,
He's gonna be bionic before we know it.
Check your foot at the luggage.
What hasn't been casted on that poor guy?
Yeah, right, I remember his
both
hands.
wrists at one time.
Both wrists at one time.
Poor Zach.
Yeah, poor Zach, but he's still got the spirit.
Okay.
But we'll pull up the slack, and Max will help us. And we get some solid interns, so.
All right.
It's always good to be thrown into the deep end.
Okay.
What else? Anything else on that?
On this item, I don't think I have anything more. I realize the time is gonna go by really fast, so.
Do we even need a vote? I'm sure you have in the budget,
No, there's,
A line
it's all
item.
Yeah, it's
covered.
all
There's no-
operational.
I thought maybe there would be a subcommittee meeting, but I don't think we need to. I think
right.
the remaining, the board members remaining in town are
Yeah.
fair game, and Kate will call accordingly.
I'll do what I can, I might be able to take the day off. Yeah, we're gonna do fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will do fine.
simple is a nice thing, you know.
I'm pretty sure Jude will help us.
Yeah, she's gonna be there. She did a great job with the vetting.
Great.
She hopped right in and looked at Facile and at that level. And we had, I guess, a little over 50 last time. Maybe more than that, but not all at once. So people coming and going.
Coming and going.
I don't know if we'll have that many. this time.
My sense is we will not have that many this time. Just
Um,
looking at the,
Do we know as far as producers, have they gotten personal invites from us to attend? I think we did that last year.
they really should.
They will. I'm certain that, I mean, I haven't been following the luminaries. It's been running very smoothly. And Kate's been updating you on the votes are coming in. She sent out a blast today that was a re-invitation
To do the luminaries.
join the fun. But we'll definitely do that.
Yeah, because I seem to recall we did
Yeah.
try to,
And I think, it was always kind of tricky with the Little League because there were a lot of people who were kind of hanging on and trying to profit from it, and we definitely did not want to play that card. It was their show, and we were just there having fun to follow. But I would say that's still a very active Facebook page, and I would say in 2 weeks we could pop onto that Facebook page and invite all those people.
Sure.
So,
when is the for sale video DVD gonna be available for the Little League?
we're selling them now. Thomas is editing them as short pieces. One will be the parade, one will be the proclamation. Those are still in editing. The radio show is gonna be a separate piece. He did one separate for the airport, another for the drive up to the
Okay.
fairgrounds. So they've been coming out in short bits. You can get them on the website, the Facebook page. And I imagine it would be easy to make a compilation of all of them and sell that.
Can we make can we ask our new celebrities to make a photo or
An appearance there.
an appearance, autograph signing or something?
That's kind of
Part
where
of
I
the
was going,
entertainment?
is how can we make this work for us
That's a
now?
good idea. I got one of the signed t-shirts. I was honored at the after party. Thomas and I both got called up on stage.
Oh, there was an after
Can
party?
they do,
Yeah, after the
it's
parade.
a school night, but can they do appearances?
It's definitely worth pursuing.
Ask Eric.
And
Smith.
It's still a very active,
Yeah, I'm sure they gotta be thinking
Yeah.
anything to keep it alive.
I mean, I heard they did a big thing at the bowling alley last Friday night, and,
Every time you turn around, there's something else.
okay.
I will pursue that.
All right.
Okay, do you wanna announce one more time the location of the,
Yes, PCA is going to be having its annual members meeting celebration with luminary and awards. Congratulations to the newly elected board members, and generally a mixer to celebrate our great good fortune to have PCA in Petaluma. And this year it will be at the Petaluma Historical Museum. Why don't I have the address in front of me? Does anybody know? It's on
4th and B.
4th and B, plenty of parking. It starts at 7 o'clock on Thursday, October 4th.
Perfect.
Be there or be square.
It's 24th Street.
okay, thank you very much for that. And our last item on the agenda, under new business, discussion only of possible new officer assignments. And this probably would have worked better had there been more of the board present tonight. However, there isn't, and so I would only say that for our October meeting, please remember that we are going to be making, we are going to elect a new executive committee with our newly elected board members present. I love doing what I'm doing, but I would love to also see somebody else.
Do we have appointments on that meeting also? Appointments for?
If we have it on the agenda, which we should probably just put it on the agenda for the October meeting, appointment of officers and election.
We should
No,
have
I'm sorry, appointment of board members and election of officers
after.
should both be on that agenda, yes.
That way we can railroad the new guys.
Yes, and the appointment would come first so that those, if there are any who are appointed to the board, can participate in the election of the officers.
And be them.
Okay,
Be then.
That was almost as good as Neil.
yeah.
Excuse me.
So, I know I've talked to a few people, a few board members outside of these meetings to kind of take the temperature and see who wants to do what. Matt has stated that it wouldn't hurt his feelings if he was no longer the treasurer. So I immediately jumped on that and asked him to consider a promotion.
I think he's ready. I think he's proved himself.
Ready to move up? See if he can find another recruit from the educational sector to take over as treasurer.
Or somebody who really likes numbers.
Who, Neil?
Somebody who shows a lot of fiduciary responsibility. There, I used a big
How
word
about Matt
too.
tells me how much work is actually entailed in this job, and I'll consider.
You know what, if you notice, there's a line item for our bookkeeper, and I have to give her lots of credit for doing
Yeah.
most of the legwork.
She does all of this, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to
Brooke
do
does all
anything.
that, yeah, you just,
Just show up and represent it.
yes,
We'll
yes.
we'll discuss it next meeting.
But please, everybody, take into consideration the needs of the organization and how it would be really good if we could all kind of step it up and. So that's all I have to say. Anybody else?
No? I would say thank you, Cindy, for your direction and work as the board chair here for the last many years.
And all the mean emails that I send out.
They're not that mean, they're just got a little edge to
No,
them.
you know what, that is,
Well, no, it's true, Cindy's always been available when I needed
Right.
something, I could shoot Cindy and
Yeah,
get a
and-
response real quick.
Except when she was in China.
somebody has to be the disciplinarian. I guess that always has to fall on the chair. Well,
Yes, mistress.
yes, mistress.
But
Okay.
we need to
I
add
move that
popcorn
we,
On that note, you think we should
Now, let me-
Should
Yeah, I think the next item is to
Let me just
adjourn.
say that one of the most crucial jobs is the secretary, and Marcel did a
yeah,
marvelous
Marcel
job.
did a great job.
Yeah.
But I have done it, I'm doing it now, and I must say that I was with Marcel every agenda.
Mhm.
And she would pass it to me first, I would bounce it back. And she created a template to take down motions in seconds, and it's crucial in that it gives us a backbone. I mean, there's a real
Mhm.
professionalism and just
Consistency.
it's not hard work, but it's a certain responsibility to get it done.
Mhm.
She would record it and do it just before the next meeting. That
Mhm.
scares you to death, so I'm gonna do it tomorrow,
Mhm.
and the minutes will be done tomorrow. But it's not that hard, especially since Cindy got us to stop doing the novels about who said what when. It's basically motions, seconds,
Mhm.
approved, not approved, who made public comments, and a 3-word description of what they talked about.
Right.
So it's really formalized down to a real easy pattern, but it is a responsibility to do it consistently and on time. It really held us together in a lot over the last 4 years. And I'll be there to help whoever does, don't worry.
Yeah. I did the secretary, I think for 3 years
Yeah.
on this board. This is my 10 years.
Wow.
10 years as a board member,
Really?
with
I
the
can only
exception of
remember
1
four.
year when,
You
1
must
year,
have tenure.
yeah, a half a year when I took off for medical. Yeah,
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
I think I get to consider backing off a little bit, but if not, it is what it is. All right,
Move to adjourn.
second, aye.
Where's my template for that?
Aye.
Aye, thank you everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, thank you
We'd be
members.
adjourning in pirate today. Arr.